Welcome to another presentation at the East Trade Winds, hosted by Franzgrote and Wayne Pratt. The presentation today is titled Ignite Your Podcast Journey Today. Our guest is Carl Richards, the expert behind podcast solutions made simple. Struggling to find your voice and connect with your audience? Carl Richards has the solution. With over 25 years of experience behind the mic in radio, on stage, and on global platforms, Carl Richards knows how to captivate and influence. As a 3X best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and host of the Speaking of Speaking podcast, Carl has mastered the art of communication. He's also the founder and CEO of Podcast Solutions Made Simple, where he helps entrepreneurs launch standout podcasts that amplify their message, build authority, and drive business growth.
My name is Carl Richards of Podcast Solutions Made Simple, where we partner with experts in real estate, also coaches, consultants, and speakers who feel they don't have the time or the technical skills to be in the podcasting space. Not only do we help them launch, but we help them maintain their show so they can focus on their business while we're helping you be seen as the go-to expert. If you're looking at launching a podcast, if you haven't already launched one, like Bernie and Wayne and Tony and Jacqueline, who are enjoying amazing success with your podcast, and you want to do it come the fall, September. You don't wait until September to launch. You start putting it together right about now. So to help you do that, Bernie already alluded to it, but we have the Podcast Jumpstart Bootcamp where we give you the tools, the templates, the carve out for your first 5 episodes to be podcast ready. I'll post it in the chat again, just in case it didn't go through. So it's there for you. But the time to start planning your podcast for the fall or even the tail end of 2025 is now. What do I want to talk about today? There are a few main barriers rather, that stop people from being in the podcasting space. And I want to run through these for you and then get into the meat of what I want to talk about. As I've identified in the past, I'm pretty sure I've shared this in a presentation before. There are 5 main points that really hold people back from launching a podcast. Their money, content, competition, tech, and time. Don't have enough money, don't realize what the investment will be. I don't know what my content's going to be. Oh my goodness, there's too many out there. The tech sounds really techy. Funny how that works out. And then I just don't have the time. What if we could remove some of those barriers of entry to make it easier? The 2 main ones, by the way, are money and time. They tend to hold people back the most when it comes to launching their podcast. We've actually created something that makes it a little bit easier, and it's called the Podcast Co-op. Co-op meaning it is a cooperative or collaborative of experts. They could be part of a community, for example, like East Trade Winds. They could be from a similar industry, such as real estate experts, which could mean lenders, lawyers, land developers, property managers, investors, all kinds of people in there. But rather than doing it all yourself, putting a show together all yourself and marketing it all yourself, you're working with other people to crank out not only a show that people are going to want to listen to, but a high quality show that's now marketable by many people. And this is how we break it down. The benefits are it's collaborative, as I've already said. You're working with other people rather than working in a silo. And one of the things that's happening in the podcasting space, I think in the content creation space in general, is we're seeing more of this collaboration, whether it's for investment reasons, whether it's for time reasons, whether it's just even for general interest. You think about it from a logical standpoint, which is more entertaining? Watching a talking head like me on a screen for 30 minutes, blah, 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 to you, or having various people share their insights or various segments. So co-op is very similar to what we would have seen several years ago, a magazine style show, for example. 60 Minutes actually is a good example of a magazine style show, a little bit deeper than, say, maybe what a podcast co-op would be, but there's many pieces of content that bring that show together. The benefit is there's multiple content contributors. So you're not putting together all this content. One of the challenges podcasters have is there's this burnout rate, right? You launch with a handful of episodes and then you're cranking out content every week. You're waiting for the result, waiting for the result, waiting for the result. We already know podcasting is a long game, not a short game. Sometimes that means 2, 3, 4 years before you see those results. With multiple content contributors, you can get there more quickly because of the fact that you're working together with a bunch of others. Lower barrier of entry. Why? Lower investment, number one. if you want to do a podcast correctly, and that's not to say you can't use AI tools, it's not to say there aren't cheap and cheerful ways of doing it, but imagine trying to be seen as the expert in your industry, and it's your teenage son or daughter throwing together your website in the basement. Is that what you want to put your authority on? Is your game playing child who put it together for you? No, I've known people who've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in a website, just so they can be seen as that expert. Similarly, with the podcast, you want to make sure it's an investment in not only a high quality product, but one that you want to say, yes, I'm a part of that. So lower barrier of entry because the investment is lower because you're all sharing the investment. Less time. Instead of doing one episode every week, you might only have to do one episode every month because your other content contributors on the project are sharing in that with you. Lower investment, already talked about that. And here's the other nice thing. And I know Bernie and Wayne and Tony too can probably share their experiences with this. When you even just have guests on your podcast, you're sharing in multiple networks because you're not only sharing in Bernie's network, Wayne's network, you're sharing in your guest's network. Now, with 6 to 8 to 10 other content contributors in a co-op, you're sharing in their networks as well. All right. And you're helping to build that audience together. It also means it becomes a marketing machine because you're all taking ownership in the show and you're all marketing it together and getting the word out. What industries does this work well for? There are several, including real estate. Already mentioned that one. Business is a great one. Business is a very broad term, so we might want to narrow that down a little bit. But business, let's say business development. There's many different things that, many different people who work in the business development sector, from financing to coaching to you name it, there's many there. Wellness, actually, wellness is a good one. We're in the process of working with a group of women out of the Toronto area, and they're looking at launching a wellness podcast come the fall, all dedicated to women and women's wellness. It's pretty cool, pretty exciting. Leadership, spiritual, Tony, spiritual, Tony, spiritual. Just letting you know, tech, sports, music, community. Community. East Tradewinds is a community. Bernie, hint, hint. Wayne, hint, hint. Imagine if East Tradewinds had their own podcast of contributors who are in this community. Just a thought. So how does this look when we start to break it down? Because people say, well, it sounds cool, but how does it really look? Let's take a 30-minute show. That is a 3, believe it or not. And I say 30 minutes, there's an E in there. Spelling was actually a strong point when I was in school. 30-minute show, because we already know that people are pressed for time. We also know that short form content tends to land and listeners will stay longer than long form content. Listeners will engage in a shorter form podcast, 20 to 30 minutes. They'll remain about 93% of people will stay for the entire time. Okay. If you do an hour or more, guess what? It drops to about 18%. But let's break down a 30-minute show. You're going to have an intro. You're going to have your segment 1. You're going to have your segment 2. You're going to have maybe your segment 3. And then you're going to have your extra. Now, this might be the host setting up the show. And then this might be your first content contributor. Then this might be your second content contributor. Already did that. And then you might have the extra. And you might have the host have to come in here again just to do a wrap up. And if you put times on that, it would work out to roughly, this might be 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, a 3-minute wrap up, and then roughly 30 seconds for an intro and extra. So it actually ends up being about 31 minutes. And if you do that every week with 8 content contributors and a host or a co-hosting situation, all of a sudden you have a group of people with a collaborative effort and interest putting together a show that is not only invigorating and inviting, but also very nicely segmented together. So that's the co-op. Love to share more information about it with you, or even jump on a call if anybody wants to find out more, or even if you're ready to find out more about podcasting in general. Love to have a conversation with you.
Unlock the full potential of networking with East Tradewinds. Are you eager to connect with our esteemed guest speaker and delve deeper into the ever-expanding universe of connections? Simply scan the QR code now and embark on a journey of endless opportunities. Join us at East Trade Winds, where we gather online via Zoom every Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, you're welcome to connect with us. Seize the moment, register for free, and start exploring today. Fancy sharing your insights as a guest speaker? We're looking for you. Reach out to Wayne Pratt to ignite your speaking journey. Email him at wayne@motivateyou.ca or connect with Wayne on LinkedIn. Don't wait. Take action and be a part of a global community that's shaping the future of business networking.